You are listening to Arcane Carolinas, an exploration of the Carolinas' folklore, legends, myths, and modern weird. Each episode, we examine the historical context of our topic and aim to preserve some of the stories that help make this part of the world such a fascinating place. Hello and welcome to a very exciting Arcane Carolinas case files in which we are going to talk about something we have coming up that we're super excited about, and that is Carolina Fear Fest. With us today is Stephanie from Carolina Fear Fest.
Hi, guys.
I'm your co-host, Charlie Mushaw, and here with me also is my co-host,
Michael G. Williams.
So, Stephanie, Carolina Fear Fest. This is something that has been on our radar pretty much since y'all started. Last year, we got an email from someone that attended and said, hey, I saw somebody with an Arcane Carolina shirt at Fear Fest. And we were like, oh man, we really got to keep an eye on that and try to be a part of it. So thank you for having us as a part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We love all of our local and regional, anything haunt affiliated. So haunt horror affiliated. We're really love to dig into our local podcasters and our folks that really have a finger on things regionally. So
why don't you tell us a little bit about what people can look forward to? Because I've been sort of like screaming into the void about like, and there's going to be cars. So I think you could probably do a better job than me at that. So I'd love for our folks to hear it straight from you.
Well, we are sort of a traditional con that likes to do things a little bit non-traditionally wherever we can. Our tagline is celebrating all things horror, and we really like to dig into that as much as we can. So it isn't all about your top 5 franchises that are out there and only tying into those things. One of the things that we like to do, because we're in a big giant building at the State Fairgrounds, the Jim Graham building is huge. So we like to devote a corner to what we call our Hell on Wheels area. And that is where we're bringing in a handful of vehicles, both screen used and replicas. We have our Jeepers Creepers, which is a refurbished screen used truck from the Jeepers Creepers. We have Christine, also screen used. That car is coming in, and she is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I keep begging him to let me drive her, and they won't let me do it. We have also Thor coming in. Thor is actually a baby replica from Supernatural. So the car itself was not screen used, but lots of great photo ops with all of those vehicles. And we keep calling her Maybe Baby because she's not actually baby from the show. But there's some cast worn costuming and lots of props and great photo ops that all of those guys fold in. So it isn't just really seeing the vehicles. They bring along some other props from the franchises, props you can use during your photo ops. And it's just a lot of fun to see those and get your photo taken if those franchises land for you. We also have a motorcycle that anybody that does cons kind of regionally has probably seen. Motorcycles called Nightmare. Great artwork on that motorcycle. It's been signed by a number of celebrities. And I know that the gentleman that owns that's very involved with some veterans bike organizations. And he's a great guy to stop and talk to. So, we kind of like to fill in a little bit with some hearses from a local hearse club as well. So just a lot of fun in that little corner of the con, but there's just so much to do.
Funny aside, I was 15 or 16 years old and I was getting my license and there was a hearse for sale. I'm dating myself here in the classifieds in the newspaper. And I was like, this is it. And my mother was like, absolutely not.
And now that thing would be refurbished and worth a great deal of money and awesome, but yeah.
Totally funny. So that's one element, but there's so much to this convention. You've got the celebrity appearances, you've got the artists, there's events that are like part of the larger con that you told me about that sound really cool, like the after hours stuff. Has the Ghost Walk been announced yet? Am I allowed to talk about that?
I don't think we've announced it, but we've done it every year. So It's the Tobacco Road Tours Paranormal Pub Crawl. And they do it all the time in Raleigh, in the area. So it's, ghost stories and beer, which you can't beat that for an evening's entertainment.
That's a Tuesday night at my house.
Yeah. So it's always great fun. But what they do for us during the convention weekend is they set aside private groupings to do that. So when you go on your tour with 20 other people, you're walking around with your fellow con goers, and you know that the folks that you're going on this pub tour with have that shared love of horror in general. So it just kind of adds to the event a little bit, because you kind of go in this big group of people that you are on the same page with, for sure.
And that's just one of the options. You also described to me there's like some what we'll call late night programming for our 21 and up crowd.
Yes. Of course, the COVID years put a lot of dent in things that we could provide. And I wasn't really comfortable getting a venue and shoving a couple hundred people in there for a party.
So this year, thank you for that.
Yeah. So this year we're doing our Bloody Good Saturday night party. This year's theme is cadavers and cocktails. Our venue is coincidentally Tobacco Road. Name's the same. I don't think they're associated, but the venue is gorgeous. It's 2 stories. It's very brick and open beam. We kind of had in our head very Victorian vampire masquerade for this event until we walked into this venue and went, oh no, this is Dexter serial killer vibes. So we kind of switched it a little bit. But, that is an after hours event. So people can choose to purchase into that. Our VIPs get a half price ticket on that. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have food. It's a cash bar. We're going to play some games. One of the games that we're playing is Let's Make a Deal, but it's Let's Make a Deal with the Devil. So nice. We're going to be highly inappropriate and asking people, the first person to bring us whatever the item is, gets to be the contestant, choose from the different creepy boxes that we'll have out. And we'll have lots of prizes and giveaways and fun with that. The costuming theme, because of course we're going to do a costume contest, is to come as you died. And so I'm fully expecting a lot of bathrobes and lingerie. I have a friend who is desperately trying to figure out how he's going to strap a toilet to him so he can go with Elvis.
That is the first thing that popped into my head. I was like, I wonder how you could do it in the bathroom thing. So that is too funny.
So, basically, if somebody really doesn't have the cosplay or costuming skills, or doesn't have the funds to go out and buy a big costume or put one together themselves, can basically pull something together much more reasonably, because they can come in their work coveralls for all it matters,
Sure.
The idea is not just the costume, though. You have to have your death story to go with it. So it's how you died. Right. So as the judges are walking around and talking to people, it's going to be how you died is just as important as the costume you put together. And people can take this however they want. They can pour blood on themselves and be a victim. They can die and become a vampire, die and become a zombie, die and become a werewolf, whatever you want to do. Where you want to take this story is completely up to you. So it'll be a lot of fun, I think, with that. See, I'm not one to usually costume up much when I go to cons. Like I kind of avoid those parties because I don't want to be like covered from head to toe.
Right.
I will be at this one because I have to. But no, I just wanted to leave some flexibility in there for as many people as we can. And a lot of conventions tend to do an after party on Saturday night that's for their VIPs only. Mm-hmm. And then what they do is not overcharge, but they upcharge the vendor pass in the first place to cover a party that the VIPs may not even want to go to. So what we did instead was try to keep our VIP passes a little bit more reasonable, let that partially fund, their ticket into the party, give them a lesser fee, but we're opening that up so the attendees can attend that Saturday party without feeling like they're excluded because they don't have the VIP pass.
Are there any VIP passes still available?
We are about 75% sold. So there are a few, but not very many.
Well, I will share this. After our conversation when we met, I took to heart that you said, you can put some stuff in the VIP bag. So we will have swag at our table that everyone can get, right? But then within the VIP bag, there will be some special items that will not be at our table. So if you're interested in getting a VIP pass for Carolina Fear Fest, know that there will be Arcane Carolinas, we'll call it merch, in your bag that you can't get at the table to also sort of incentivize that package.
I usually don't get the details until the last minute. And there are legitimately vendors that will walk in and hand me a bag of stuff on the day they're registering. So I can't tell people what's in the bag because I never know. But I mean,
ours is separated out. Ours is separate because we were just in Richmond for a show and we're planning for another one. So I was like, all right, I gotta square this away. I gotta inventory it. And I set it all aside. There's a box in the other room that's labeled Fear Fest Don't Touch VIP. And then also Fear Fest Don't Touch Killer Clues, because you're doing sort of a contest throughout the con, right?
Yes. We started this that first year after COVID because, our vendors had not worked for a year and a half. And we wanted to, we're always looking to have fun anyway, but we twisted up the game that we had in mind so that it would be more vendor focused. And we've just kind of kept it since. Killer Clues, the attendees are trying to gain their clues from the vendors. So the vendors are our witnesses and they have to go around to the witnesses to get their clues together. The different vendors, those witnesses, can make them do something to gain their clue. So when you walk up to the vendor, they're not just going to hand it over necessarily. They might make you do a little ballerina dance, answer a horror trivia question.
Right.
A lot of them do best screams. So there's just randomly people screaming around the building, just to have a little bit of fun as you walk around, and then you turn those clues in. And then we do raffle like drawings on both Saturday and Sunday for all different kinds of fun prizes. And on Saturday, we tie that into our charity auction banner that we do for Haunters Against Hate is the recipient for those funds to support them. And that is all of our celebrity banners that are up. Though we auction those off on Saturday, they'll personally sign them, personalize them, and then you can pick them up on Sunday before the show is over. So that's a lot of fun too. So, Saturday afternoon, evening, right before we close down the show floor, that's when we do a lot of our auctions and our door prize giveaway fun stuff.
So we can't really compete with celebrity autographs. We do want to let people know that we're going to be contributing some items that are unique from even the VIP bag, unique from what you can get at the table, that will only be available for the Killer Clues donation. We'll be donating some items from the archive and one item that we have not released yet. So we'll be getting that stuff together for you. Edit this out or not, I don't care. This is how the sausage gets made, folks. Do you want us to mail that to you, or do you want us to give that to you when we arrive on Friday?
You can just bring it with you.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
leave that in. That's fun.
Those VIP bags together at the last minute. So, bringing everything with you, and then we deal with it on site.
Okay,
good deal.
My car is full, and I have to carry more stuff that way if I don't.
Right.
Can you tell us more about Haunters Against Hate, the organization that you're supporting?
Yeah, Haunters Against Hate is run by Paul Lanner, and it is a charity organization. It's anti-bullying. It predominantly started within the haunt industry. What they do is support a number of other groups for LGBT, predominantly focusing more on the youth, trans youth, kids that don't feel supported at home. There are organizations out there to help them out and provide services for them, and that is what he predominantly supports. And he has got some amazing graphics people in his pocket that have made some of the coolest t-shirts in the world. So he will actually have a number of various merchandise, a lot of t-shirts, and they're very cool at his table. And he's actually tried to start a con of his own out in, I'm going to say Kentucky, but it might be Tennessee, that he's done it for 2 years. He's actually taking this year off from doing that, but he's trying to start up his own convention as well. So another fun regional thing for those that are more out on the western side could easily get to, and another weekend over the summer to get your horror on.
I want to say that that's really personally meaningful to me, that organization exists and is fantastic. And also, I think it's great because as a horror writer myself, most of the time I encounter people who are outside of horror fandom who assume that it's sort of a hostile environment and that it's not welcoming and supportive of people, when in fact, my experience has been the horror fans are the kindest people in the world. And so I really, really am so delighted that that's a part of this.
He also has a number of books that he does. I want to say he's up volume 11 or 12, where he focuses, I'm in one of them, I'm Women Haunters. He's a lot of fun to talk to. So definitely a good booth to drop by and take a look at.
Great.
It just occurred to me, and this is on me because I was the one that brought us in. I was excited, and that's kind of how our shows go. Carolina Fear Fest is May 26th through the 28th at the Raleigh Fairgrounds this year, 2023.
There will also be a link in the show notes in whatever app or site you're using to listen to this.
Yeah, all that will be in the show notes.
So Friday night is actually our programming just for our weekend and VIP pass holders. So we do special things that night that we don't do the rest of the weekend. So it might be a photo op opportunity, some stage entertainment. We're kind of working on pulling all those fine details together right now. Our VIPs get provided dinner that night. You know, we try and make that a little bit more of a party atmosphere, but that way our weekend and VIP people kind of get that first shot at some of the celebrities, get some of that shopping out of the way. So if you're looking for something unique, you don't have it bought out from underneath of you on Saturday when the crowds descend, you know, and it's just a way to help spread your experience out. We have a number of people that still just do the day passes to come out just for Saturday, just for Sunday. And that's great because you can do quite a bit. But it really has grown to the point now where it's really hard to kind of do this show all in one day and see everything. There's 100 vendors and, you know, the lines. And if you try Saturday, obviously there's a lot more people there that day that you're trying to get in line behind. So
I'm going to do the most egregious plug. We generally don't run ads, but here it is. You just got it straight from the source. Your weekend pass is the one you want, or the VIP for all the stuff. You can use code ARCANECFF. That's capital A, lowercase r, CANE, capital C, capital F, capital F. That'll get you 10% off your weekend pass.
And that also will be in the show notes.
Yeah. So, thank goodness for the show notes, because like, I don't know what we would do without them. But yeah, did I miss anything? I was really excited about this when we talked, and I called Michael and rattled it all off. I was like, and they're doing this, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they're doing, you know, I think I asked you about all the stuff. Did I miss anything that people should know?
Well, I know you guys are joining us along with a handful of other folks that we rely on for panel moderating. So we have panels that we run Saturday and Sunday, and, you know, just all different topics. Because again, we want to do as much as we can, focus on everything. So they're usually panels on some of the franchises, women in horror. We might do a Q&A with one of the celebs. So you want to be a screenwriter. So you want to write a horror novel. So you want to publish, or you want to learn how to do different things. It's just a lot of different panel opportunities, either to talk to those celebs and potentially ask questions, or get to sit with them for 45 minutes and hear them tell those cool stories from the set that you don't ever usually get to hear. Usually we try and spread out the various topics, so there'll always be something for everyone. And then we've got different things on the stage for trivia contests or makeup demos. Our special effects battle happens both on Saturday and Sunday. So the contestants for that, actually on Saturday, it's very much like Face Off, the TV show, if anyone watched that. So basically they sit down with their model and all of their stuff, and they create their original character, and they've got like 45 minutes to knock the look out. And then on Sunday, that competition is they sit down with their model, and then they're handed a brown paper bag with a bunch of things in it, and it's good luck to you. And they open the bag, the game has started, and they have to incorporate those things without knowing in advance for planning. That's a lot of fun to watch. The different vendors just run the gamut. We try and avoid some of them. Your MLM, like people should not be selling
sweatshop sweatpants,
stuff, and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So everything's very much on theme. A lot of artists, we have writers, we have people selling T-shirts and pop figures and all kinds of different things. We have our official artwork for the show, and we've done this from the very beginning. We find a North Carolina or a regional artist, and we've been pulling from our vendors for this. They do our official artwork for each year. So we'll have a limited number of tote bags and T-shirts or other merchandise at the Carolina Fear Fest merch table that have the different artwork for each year. The goal being, because I'm going to date myself too, but the goal being at some point being 12 years in and putting out that the calendar with the art for each year, or the being able to kind of mash those together for anniversary years and show the different artwork. And each year it's a very different style, which, we like. We've had digital art. We have canvas art. I actually have it sitting here in my office. We really try and celebrate the local art and tie that into our festival each year too. So this year's has already been released. We went very old school, Universal Monster, Frankenstein. And so we really enjoyed. Our VIPs actually will get a tote bag and a t-shirt that'll have this year's artwork on it, along with whatever our other things we throw in there and our vendors throw in.
Is that West Flannery doing that this year?
It is this year, yes.
Yeah. So our folks in our community will be familiar with West Flannery. We gave away a t-shirt of his 2 years ago for our Halloween special. We did a raffle, and I think we gave away a West Flannery package with Jason on it. So if you remember that, that's the person she's talking about. He does great art. We just saw him in Richmond at GalaxyCon and said hi to him. If you live anywhere near Hillsborough, you may have seen his mural there.
Big Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I basically sit down with the artist and say, I'm thinking ish, and then let them kind of go. And with Wes, it was super easy. It was just old school, man. Just that's what he does. That's what he excels at. So it's got a different vibe from the last year's was kind of the statue angels. I know I'm saying the wrong thing. Doctor Who. It was Doctor Who feeling for me with the demon angel thing. And the year before it was like skulls, but I wanted to have demon horns. And Chad did a great job with that. We really enjoy that kind of curating that art. And I know one of our kind of future plans was to maybe dedicate a corner and put up these different things that we've been collecting from our different artwork each year, along with pulling in from some of the different artists that are there as vendors, and maybe even putting up a whole kind of, art display walkthrough kind of thing. Because again, we don't want it to just to be about like Michael Myers and the whatever franchise is hot that year.
I think that's a fan. I think that sort of, as you accrue this art and it stacks up, I think that's an awesome idea to sort of have a walkthrough, almost like a history of the con via art. I think people would be into that. I went to, I'll just say what it was, whatever. Many, many years ago, when I was a younger lad, the Warped Tour had a history of the Warped Tour exhibit, and you could and you could go through, and it was like, oh, we started in 1990 whatever, and went through here, and here's the bands that were at it, and here's the skaters that were at it, and here's the BMX riders that were at it, and they had that. And I remember walking through that and thinking like, wow, this is really neat. And I think seeing something similar, taking that idea to another level with art that's actually been a part of your show would resonate with people. And that's my 2 cents. Sorry to inject my opinion. I just thought that was a really cool idea.
That's good. The other thing that we're doing this year, and this is new, is gaming. Because again, we want to celebrate horror in all of its forms, and there's a lot of gaming options out there. So we have an escape room setting up. We have 2 different VR companies right now that we're talking to that'll have some demo. One's a co-op play, so it's a dual shooter, something with zombies. I apologize, I don't know the titles myself. But,
all good.
So it's celebrating the virtual reality of it. We have a social gaming from a local game tavern that'll be setting up playing sessions of werewolves.
Cool.
And we're looking at trying to schedule some tabletop games, and not full sessions, but mini sessions to get a little horror storyline behind some D&D, some other options. So, people can sign up for some short session tabletop as well. We're really hoping to keep expanding the gaming side of it as we go through the years as well.
So if you're listening to this and this is your first time hearing about Carolina Fear Fest and you're not yet convinced that there's something there for you, I have no idea what to tell you, because there is literally something for everyone at this show. We are really excited to be a part of it. Thank you again for having us.
Absolutely. We love to have you on board. We're absolutely thrilled to start making those new local partnerships and help build the show as we go through the years and keep expanding on it.
Well, again, that discount code for your weekend pass. See, I sound like such a commercial. Arcane CFF will get you 10% off your weekend pass if you order before the beginning of May. It's capital A and capital CFF at the end. It'll be in the show notes.
Yes. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you guys could have me on. I appreciate it.
Hello and welcome back to another Arcane Carolinas Case Files. It has been a little while since we've done one of these. I'm really excited to be doing them again. We were at RecCon in Cary, North Carolina back in February, and as I was scribbling on a sign outside of a panel room, changing what it said, I noticed the Winston-Salem Paranormal Society table right there next to the room. So I struck up a conversation with Tonya from the Winston-Salem Paranormal Society, who has been gracious enough to join us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your group?
Well, Winston-Salem Paranormal Society was founded in 2007. We retired in 2012. But came back together in 2019, and we're now sponsoring several groups and teams.
I noticed that on your website, which is Winston-Salem-Paranormal-Society.com. There is a lot to see and also do on your webpage, which is something that I really appreciated about it, is that it has events, like geographically distributed events and things to do and ways to engage with your affiliated groups.
Well, we want to put as much out there to the public. We want people to be able to come out and meet with like-minded folks and be able to enjoy the paranormal.
Yeah, that's exactly why we do live things as well. That community building and like sense of like, hey, let's go out and meet some people that like to talk about this stuff. I noticed that there are quite a few events at the Pattison Memorial Library in Kernersville. Are those free events? Are they ticketed events?
They are free events. We also live stream them on our Facebook Kernersville Paranormal Research group. So we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to help educate the public on the real paranormal investigating and to get them to understand that it's not quite like what they see on television. In 45 minutes, then, that could have took a week to film.
Exactly.
We want people to understand what they're getting into before they go into somebody's private home and possibly cause more problems than they started out with.
Right. Well, speaking of that, so if someone is having what they suspect is a paranormal experience and they are looking for some sort of help or guidance or just want to talk to somebody about it, is that something that your group is open to do? And if so, how should they get in touch with you?
Well, they can contact me through any of the Facebook groups or Facebook pages. They can contact me through the website. What we'll do is I start out the investigations with having them send me a photo of the location and the hot spots in the home or the business. I'll send them to a psychic medium, kind of get a reading from him. He's fantastic. I've been working with him for 15 years, never had a complaint. Then we also will set up a psychic walkthrough for a team of psychic mediums that we have. And they kind of come in. Each one of them brings a piece to the puzzle. We put it together and we kind of try to figure out what's going on. And then we take that information and we do the research. So we start doing historical research on the properties. And then we put that in with the psychic medium reports, and then we send in an investigation team to scientifically document anything that they've experienced.
Yeah, I really like that approach. It's something that I noticed on your page was that you do take historical context into account, which is a big part of our show. Some folks are like, you're not a paranormal podcast, you're a history podcast. And I wouldn't argue with them.
You really can't have one without the other.
Right. So I really appreciate that respect for history and scientific method. So that being said, I mentioned the events and I'm going to mention them again because there's some on there for April, but then there's stuff as far out as September. Like there's a battleship thing, USS North Carolina thing in September. So if you are listening to this and you think like, oh, I can't do anything in April, do check out the website. There are lots of activities and things to do and ways to engage with the Winston-Salem Paranormal Society. And they will be at ConGregate in Winston-Salem this summer, and we'll be there too.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to do anything special at ConGregate?
I'm not really sure yet. I've got a lot of great ideas. And I would love to bring the team in to do some of the historical sites in the area to talk about some of the hauntings and some of the evidence that we've gotten from some of these historical buildings. Right now, we're working on the downtown Kernersville area.
Okay.
So we got a lot of interesting cases in that location and maybe come in and share a little bit of information about what we find there.
That sounds cool. I'm going to ask a favor of you.
Yes.
Please keep us posted on that. Once this episode goes live, we'll post updates as we go on our social media about things to do for attendees of ConGregate in relation to your activities. So keep us posted on that.
Definitely.
And there'll also be a link to the website for your organization in the show notes to this episode so that anybody listening right now can just click on that in their app.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you.
It was such a pleasure to meet you at RecCon.
Well, I really enjoyed meeting you. I had a ball on that one panel.
Yeah, I know. Like, we didn't actually talk very much, you and I, but that panel we were on together was great. It was a lot of fun.
It really was. I appreciate y'all's input on everything. It's so nice to get everybody's input.
Well, thank you again. And that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for talking to us.
All right.
See you at ConGregate.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you at ConGregate.
You've been listening to Arcane Carolinas. Thanks for joining us. If you liked it, give us a rating, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, send us an email and tell us why. If you're not wrong, we'll try to fix it.
And if you're interested in award-winning speculative fiction, including science fiction, urban fantasy, and horror, find me, Michael G. Williams, at michaelgwilliamsbooks.com, and check out Falstaff Books at falstaffbooks.com.
If you'd like to pick up some Arcane Carolinas merch, look at behind-the-scenes info, pictures, videos, stuff like that, all the things that get cut, check out arcanecarolinas.com, where you can get access to our Patreon, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, all that in one place, including the merch store. Buy a shirt.
Clothe your body.
Drape your body in our wares.
Be our living billboards.
I mean, nothing, like really.
Oh, I hit record. I did not expect it to actually just start recording. That's like, that. Because usually it's like, do you want to record to the cloud? Do you want to record to your computer? And it just says recording commenced. And I'm like, oh, it didn't ask.